Are you often drawn to beautiful, talented women who exude an almost unbelievable perfection? They enter your life like a strange wind, bringing intense emotions and sweet promises that leave you intoxicated with love. But then, you gradually realize that behind that dazzling exterior lies a completely different person, selfish, calculating, and willing to trample on you to achieve their goals. You feel hurt, desperate, trapped in a swamp with no way out. You torment yourself, blaming your own foolishness, unable to understand why you fell for it. But don't give up just yet. Wipe your tears, stand up, and fight for your own happiness. In this video, I will reveal 6 reasons why you become the target of these cunning narcissistic pains. Let's confront the truth together, understand their sophisticated tactics, and empower yourself to break free from this cycle of pain and rediscover peace for your soul. Reason 1. You are easily trusting. Let's rewind time to that fateful moment when you first met her. Did she appear like an angel, making your heart race as though you'd found your perfect other half? With a stunning appearance and polished words, she attacked you relentlessly with subtle smiles and accidental touches that sent electricity through your body. She skillfully led you into a world of passionate ecstasy, a euphoric feeling you thought only existed in dreams. But wake up, my friend. It was all just a calculated baiting game, only this time it played out on the soft bed you shared. Perhaps she appeared as an innocent, compassionate girl with a heart full of love. She passionately spoke of her charitable endeavors, helping the poor, caring for the homeless. Her social media overflowed with glorious images of her kindness. But remember this, genuinely kind people do not need to flaunt their good deeds or seek validation. They silently perform acts of kindness driven by their heart's calling, not as a tool to polish their image. She showered you with sweet compliments like honey dripping into your ears, leaving you intoxicated with love. You saw yourself as the shining knight in armor, ready to fulfill every request of your charming princess. If you've ever been lost in such overwhelming emotions, don't be surprised or blame yourself. You are not alone. This is what's known as love bombing, a classic tactic of narcissists, well documented by psychologists. They set a sweet, comforting trap, luring their prey willingly into it without realizing the danger. From the very first encounter, she didn't look at you with the eyes of someone seeking love, but with the cold gaze of a predator assessing its prey. Behind her alluring, glamorous facade, she meticulously dissected you, observing your gestures, words, reactions, as if studying a specimen under a microscope. She took note of your interests, fears, and deepest desires, not to understand and share them, but to weaponize them against you in the future. In the game of love she orchestrates, speed is her ultimate weapon. She wants to accelerate everything, from creating an overwhelming first impression to establishing a binding relationship. Don't be surprised if she subtly brings up marriage, children, or moving in together, even though you've only known each other for a short time. It's all part of a cunning trap waiting for you to fall into. The hard truth is that people who are naturally trusting are more likely to fall for the manipulations of such individuals. They see life through rose-colored glasses, believe in goodness, and offer their trust without suspicion. They are like innocent birds, easily captivated by sweet words and fake gestures of care. If you had been more cautious, taking the time to observe and learn about her past relationships, things might have been different. You would have noticed the red flags and the ghosts of her past that she tried so hard to hide. But don't rush to blame yourself. Trusting others is also a beautiful trait, reflecting a pure and kind heart. Take this as a valuable lesson to help you grow wiser in future relationships. Do you agree with me on this? If yes, leave a 1 in the comments. If not, leave a 0. Reason 2. She saw potential in you. Do you remember what I said earlier? Before deploying her tactics to conquer you, She studied you thoroughly, like a seasoned wolf stalking its prey. She evaluated your financial capability and assessed your level of empathy. She needed a partner who could provide abundant resources, someone willing to defend, justify, and even delude themselves to protect the false image she worked so hard to build. She would test you through tricky situations and psychological mind games to gauge your limits. It might involve sudden family crises, misunderstandings with colleagues, or public humiliation. She would cry dramatically, play the role of the pitiful victim, and exploit your compassion to achieve her goals. Simultaneously, she would cleverly reward your contributions with sweet promises and romantic evenings, just the two of you. Mesmerized by her charm, her vulnerability, and her seemingly feminine fragility, you might find yourself under her spell. Once you've fallen into her trap, she may feign withdrawal to make you desire her even more. This is a calculated move designed to put you on the defensive, making you chase after her and beg for her attention. She will tighten her grip on you with a tearful narrative. She might accuse you of hurting her or simply play the fragile victim, afraid of being hurt again. All of this is to awaken your savior instinct, making you feel responsible for protecting and healing her emotional wounds. She'll extract promises from you, commitments of eternal love and absolute loyalty. Once you've given her these vows, you're fully ensnared, becoming the prey in the love game she has carefully orchestrated. Reason 3, you are an empathic person. She craves a partner with a deep sense of empathy. Someone who believes she is a kind-hearted girl with good intentions but deprived of love and recognition. She seeks someone who will trust her unconditionally, accept her flaws, and dedicate themselves to saving her from the hardships of life. She constantly tests you. Are you forgiving enough to overlook repeated mistakes? Are you patient enough to endure her irrational outbursts? Are you willing to sacrifice everything, even your own well-being, to satisfy her enormous ego and hunger for control? If you have a compassionate heart, you're more susceptible to this trap. You'll excuse manipulative behavior, forgive disrespect, and even tolerate betrayal because you believe things will improve if you love her enough. The harsh reality is that you gradually feel drained, physically, mentally, and emotionally, stuck in a one-sided relationship where you give without receiving. Are you staying in this relationship because of her fear of being seen as unfaithful or abandoning her? Do you worry that leaving means letting her sink into despair? Open your eyes, my friend. It's her selfish actions and cutting words that are pushing you away. Sometimes, without realizing it, we unconsciously recreate patterns of trauma from our past. Are you hoping that by healing this relationship, you'll soothe old wounds, insecurities, or a lack of love from your childhood? Do you yearn to fill the void within and be loved unconditionally? But that's not the path to true healing. Just as you can't heal an open wound by cutting it deeper, you cannot heal yourself in the very environment that caused the harm. Be brave and step out of this painful cycle. Liberation doesn't lie in clinging to a relationship that's falling apart, but in learning to love yourself, accepting the past, and moving forward. The sky out there is vast, and you deserve a love where you are cherished, respected, and free to be yourself. Reason 4, you are emotionally manipulable. From the very beginning of the relationship, she stages dramatic emotional displays, sudden bursts of anger, moments of trembling fear, or episodes of vulnerability where she cries like a deeply wounded child. These outbursts aren't spontaneous or natural. They're calculated tests to gauge your reactions. Will you silently endure it, hoping it passes? Will you rush to fulfill her demands, to diffuse the situation, or will you patiently comfort her, doing whatever it takes to make her feel safe and loved? These emotional performances are like sacrificial pawns in a strategic chess game she's orchestrated. The goal isn't just to make you feel responsible for her emotions, but to determine how far you're willing to go to meet her wants and needs. For example, if during a date she suddenly becomes angry because you didn't order her favorite dish, your reaction will dictate how she treats you in the future. If you apologize and immediately rectify the situation, she sees you as easily controlled. If you resist or refuse to comply, you may face punishments like prolonged silence, criticism, or guilt-laden accusations. Over time, you may find yourself adapting and adjusting your behavior to avoid conflict with her. For instance, you might start declining invitations from friends because you know she dislikes you going out without her. Or you may abandon personal hobbies that don't align with her preferences. These efforts to maintain peace keep you in a constant state of tension, always second-guessing which actions might trigger her next emotional storm. She gradually becomes the center of the relationship. Her needs and emotions consume your thoughts, leaving little room for your own. You begin to feel like you're losing your identity, reduced to a satellite orbiting around her, too fearful to leave or resist due to the emotional consequences she might unleash. You may even blame yourself when she's upset, even when it's not your fault. Over time, the relationship becomes entirely one-sided. You sacrifice unconditionally while she continuously demands more. Reason 5. You may have grown up around narcissistic individuals. If you're entangled in a relationship with a narcissistic woman, whether in dating or marriage, and grew up in an environment with a narcissistic mother or other female figures, you may have unconsciously internalized a skewed belief. This is just how women are. Psychological studies suggest that childhood experiences with a narcissistic parent can leave lasting imprints on how you perceive relationships. Psychologist Alice Miller noted that children in such families often learn to prioritize the parents' needs above their own, leading to the development of codependent behaviors or acceptance of unfair treatment as normal. This may explain why you're more prone to falling into similar relationships as an adult. The belief that all women are like this is dangerous. It's like an invisible shackle that makes you not only tolerate but also adapt to toxic dynamics. Research by Dr. Judith Herman, a trauma expert, reveals that individuals raised in environments of psychological manipulation or narcissism often recreate similar patterns in future relationships because they see it as the norm for love and care. However, your past experiences don't have to distort your understanding of love and women. Not all women are the same, and you deserve a healthy relationship where you are respected, loved, and feel safe. Dr. John Bowlby, the father of attachment theory, demonstrated that healthy relationships not only improve mental health, but also enhance emotional resilience, especially for those with a history of trauma. Another scientific factor contributing to your entanglement in a narcissistic relationship is trauma bonding. This concept, developed by Dr. Patrick Carnes, describes how cycles of affection and abuse in toxic relationships can create neurological changes, particularly in areas controlling emotions and rewards. Alternating releases of dopamine, the happiness hormone, lead to a state of emotional dependency. This phenomena mirrors Stockholm Syndrome, where victims form attachments to their abusers as a psychological survival mechanism. For instance, you may interpret rare moments of sweetness from her as proof of her love, believing that if you try harder, you can heal her or improve the relationship. This causes you to gradually accept manipulative or abusive behavior without realizing you're trapped in a dangerous psychological cycle. To break free from trauma bonding, you must first recognize that it's not love, but a complex physiological and psychological response. Consulting a therapist can help you understand your behavioral patterns and teach you how to set healthy boundaries. Additionally, building a supportive network of friends and family can restore your sense of security and independence. Remember, your past doesn't determine your future. You can escape toxic relationships and find true happiness where love isn't about sacrifice or endurance, but mutual respect, support, and growth. Reason 6. You crave validation from others. She is a master of control and manipulation. She blames, threatens, and even bullies you without hesitation. If you really loved me, you would do this or that. These words act like invisible nooses tightening around you. You strive to please her because each time you do, you are rewarded with fleeting praise and rare moments of feeling appreciated. But if you fail to meet her expectations, you're met with coldness, disdain, and cutting remarks. While her manipulation is evident, it's important to recognize a critical truth. You may have unwittingly allowed it. Your desire for validation from others may have overshadowed your ability to listen to your own needs. She doesn't act randomly. Every move is calculated to exploit you for her benefit. She fears being controlled herself, and her strategy to avoid that is to control you first. Don't underestimate her. She isn't foolish. She's studied you carefully. Every vulnerability, every emotional trigger of yours is within her sights. She meticulously plans to exploit these, pushing you to emotional extremes, provoking outbursts of anger. When you lose control, she sits back, calm and calculating, mentally recording every detail to later paint herself as the victim. She might even tell others that you're the abusive one, casting herself as the helpless victim in your relationship. This insidious tactic isolates you, making you feel insecure and doubt your own sanity. She repeatedly reminds you how lucky you are to have her, claiming no one else would accept someone as awful as you. If only you changed, if only you stopped your terrible behavior, she promises to treat you better. But it's just another trap. The cycle continues, arguments, apologies, reconciliation. She throws you scraps of affection, cheap, fleeting tokens of care, to keep you hooked. A small act of kindness from her is enough to make you believe she truly cares. This leaves you confused and anxious. You can't understand why she behaves this way or why you can't break free. You question, blame, and wonder if perhaps you're the narcissist she accuses you of being. But no, my friend, you are not the narcissist. You're someone yearning for a safe, trusting relationship built on genuine connection. The sad reality is, a narcissist isn't seeking the same. It's true, you may have some emotional immaturity to work on, but that doesn't make you a narcissist. And the harsh reality is, if you've experienced past emotional wounds or abandonment, you're more likely to accept chaotic love. You've grown accustomed to fighting for love, believing it must be earned. But true love isn't about struggle or suffering. It's about mutual respect, trust, and companionship. You deserve to be loved fully, not in a relationship built on control and fear, but one that nurtures and uplifts you.